What's going on, guys? Welcome back. So in this video, I want to talk about letting go, and then this happened. So I was talking to a guy, he's on my coaching program, and let's fix this real quick. He finally decided to let go. So he brought this up to me maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that. And we were talking and I said, okay, like what happened, right? Like what made you decide to want to let go? This book right here helped him let go. I said, what part of the book made you want to let go so bad? And he went to this lust part right here. So if you guys remember me talking about ag flap cap, apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, and pride, okay? So the reason why he was able to start letting go is because he recognized and became aware of the emotions that he was putting out into the world, and what he was feeling inside, he was projecting outwards, okay? When you do that, right? You guys going through a breakup right now, you heavily desire to have that person back into your life, even if it's not a good idea, right? Simply because you got rejected. So let me read a part of this to you. Lust. Now, a lot of people have a sexual idea of lust, right? But listen to this, okay? When we experience lust, we desire possession. So when you lose somebody, you are looking to control them because you're out of control and you don't have any security on how they feel about you anymore, right? We desire possession. We are wanting. We hunger for money, power, sex, people, places, and things, but with hesitation. We may or may not reach out. We have an underlying feeling that we cannot or should not have. Our bodies have a little more energy than fear. So in terms of ag flap cap, apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, and pride. So they measure this on an energetic level, okay? It is still quite contracted, but the sensations now are sometimes quite pleasurable. So that's why people have that sexual idea of lust, I guess. Especially compared to the previous three lower energy emotions. Feelings can be very intense. This happens in the early stages of certain relationships where people are trying so hard to create. Guys do this sometimes, girls do it too, but people that do this, they're trying to create and push the relationship, the dating into a committed relationship. They do that all the time. And it's because, again, you have a deep fear that you don't really deserve it or it doesn't belong to you. So you try to force it to happen instead of letting it happen naturally, because that's really the only way you should let it happen, right? It's just naturally. But our minds are a little less cluttered than fear, but still very noisy and obsessive. Think about how you guys are thinking and feeling right now, right? We may try to medicate our pictures with positive fantasies, but underneath our pictures are really about what we don't have. Our thoughts are about what we need to get instead of what we don't have. Our thoughts are about what we need to get and what we don't have. No matter how much we do get, we never feel satisfied and rarely enjoy what we have. So that's where a relationship will actually start forming, is when you enjoy the time that you have with the person. This is why getting an ex back is so much more difficult than starting a new relationship. Whenever you're interacting with an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend, if you guys aren't blocked and all that shit, and maybe things were bad or it didn't end amicably, a lot of the times you're coming off thirsty and you don't even know it. You're like, man, I want to see you, I want to be around you, because you still desire that relationship to go back to a place where you felt comfortable. So if you think about it, this just comes back to self-esteem and how you feel about you and where you're at in life. So that person made you feel good. Now they're gone. Now you don't feel good. You have to ask yourself why. Now, a relationship ending on its own hurts, but why is it that some people can get over them super fast and say, okay, well, you don't desire me, go fuck yourself, I don't want to be around you anymore? Or why does it take a person 1 year or 2 years to get over something, right? Think about those differences. Usually, if I had to guess through my observations, I'm not a therapist or a scientist that has studied people, but I've been observing how people act. And the people that take a long time to get over things usually have a lower self-esteem than the other people that get over them quicker. It goes into a story about a basketball player. And I'm just going to go to the next part. Allow yourself to take a few moments and remember the last time you or someone you knew experienced lust. Then give yourself a few moments just to be with whatever feeling that memory comes up in the moment. Could you allow yourself to welcome this feeling as best as you can? Could you allow yourself to let it go? Would you let it go, and when? Before you move on to the next emotion, repeat this process a few more times until you feel you're able to release some of what you're feeling. And then it goes into anger. Okay? You guys are going to be experiencing a myriad of emotions going through a breakup, right? Anger, fear, grief, actually probably almost all of AgFlap, maybe except pride. So you guys have to be working through all of those early emotions, okay? Apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, and pride. When you pick up this book, it will help you work through each emotion, and because you have to understand why you're feeling it. If you're angry, right, that's what the next stage is. You have to work through that. If you're fearful, which is most of the issues you guys are dealing with, is fear. You're going to be working through those emotions, and you're going to be, okay, you know what? I'm going to work through this, because at the end of the day, if I'm fearful, what am I fearful about? And once you figure out what you're fearful about, you can move through it. Now, going back to the reason why you guys clicked on this fucking video is the guy that I was helping went through this and read this book, and he realized he was feeling a whole lot of fear and lust, right? And he's like, I'm just going to stop. That's why I tell you to do no contact, to work on yourself, to level your individual self up, then go back out into the world, right? Because when you work on you and you work on your emotions, you work on figuring you out, and you start tweaking and start chiseling away at the statue, right? Then from there, you're going to go, okay, this is why I've been acting this way. So you go to the root of the problem. You go to the cause of the issue, why you're angry, why you're dealing. Because people get into a relationship and they still have AgFlap going on. So if you picture AgFlap over here and picture that it's a red emotion, red, just bad, right? And then blue. Now, blue is cap, courage, acceptance, and peace. Now, you can resemble and bounce in between these, but people that are happy are almost always over here. And people that are angry and sad and think the world is garbage are over here, okay? So the reason why we have these and bounce between things and stay over here or stay over here is because of our worldview. If you have had things happen to you and and you didn't process them, it could be stuff that happened when you were young, then you're going to be over here and you're going to think that the world is a bad place and people are awful and blah, blah, blah. But when you're over here, I've gone from here to here, by the way. So when you're over here, your world in life is abundant and like everything is working out for you. So this book will help you move through that, okay? And this guy got his ex to call him. So he messaged me and said like about 2 weeks ago that he was going through all this, and then, you know, then about 2 days ago now, I'm losing track of my days because of all the fucking uploading I've been doing. She reached out to him, and I don't know if it's the energy, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm helping him walk through it all. So he realized how much better he was feeling after actually going through this. There are so many students that are like, hey Kyle, I'm reading this, and I'm reading this, okay? Letting Go and Sedona Method, right? I use fucking envelopes as my bookmarks. So people read these two books and they're like, yeah, Kyle, I'm reading them. And most people are reading them because they think that some magical thing is going to happen when they read them. But the truth is, you have to take these books in and actually mentally apply it to yourself and go, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm dealing with some shit from my childhood that doesn't need to be there anymore, because that is not you anymore. If you went through some shit, guys, you are holding on to it. It's like a bag of bricks. I watched Devil's Advocate yesterday with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. And at the end of the movie, he said, why are you holding on to it? It's like a bag of bricks. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's a good analogy, right? In the movie sense, you know, it's not good because of how the movie goes. But in a general sense, yes, people are holding on to things they don't need to hold on to anymore. People will actually give excuses to hold on to those things because it gives them a certain identity. So when it comes to that, you have to read this book, I'm telling you to read a lot of books, right? So I know I'm telling you to read a lot of books, but this book will help you with that, okay? So people will almost create excuses to stay where they are because they are now comfortable being there, okay? So the whole I'm poor narrative, I'm poor, nothing will work out for me. If you start building something, you're now becoming a different version, a literal different version of yourself that needs to now understand how to make an extra $2,000 a month, 5 or 10,000, right? And the people that you become as you climb up are going to be vastly different than before, right? So, because you're going to learn new skills, right? As you have better relationships, it's the same thing, okay? So your next relationship, or when you go back to your ex, this is why you have to consume this material, and become a different version of you. Don't read it because we all tell you to. Read it and take it in because it will help you. It will change you. It will help you become a different person, a different identity. And then when you become different and better and you realize your mistakes, and if that ex does call you, you can go back into that relationship with a different mindset. Unless, and of course, if your ex is out there being a fucking hoe, don't go back to her. But, right? So, and here's the thing. You're never even going to really know that anyway. So it's really up to you. But if you see them partying and having a good time, you can make some assumptions. But it's up to you at the end of the day what you do with your life. There are going to be people in the comments that will say, don't ever go back. Don't ever go back. It's up to you. You can make the decision. I've seen people get back with their exes and it works out just fine. Some of them are still my students and some of them still message me. And I'm like, hey man, how are you? Long time no see. How are things working out? And they said, look, all they needed to do was read the material and become a better version of themselves. Stop. And they let go of all the shit that was holding them back in a relationship. The shit that made them needy and insecure, right? So that's it for this video. So he got his ex to call him, or text him, I should say. So it is what it is. Okay? He literally messaged me and tell me how everything's working out for him. And then what? 2 weeks later, his ex messages him. You can say it's coincidence, right? But when you feel the shift, see you guys in the next one. Subscribe, blah, 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 like, and all that shit. Coaching's down below. Done.